7:20 here on Breakfast Television.
What is happening with that?
What is going on there?
Do you see that? What is going on there?
Yeah.
Just give it a smack. Just
What
give
is
it a,
going
just
on?
Yep.
Is that better?
Yep. Yep.
You fix it?
Well, there it is.
And look, we're talking about it. Look what happened as I'm walking over. My IFB
You know
falls
what's
off
happening?
as well. Mercury Retrograde.
I don't know why we had to sing it. Sorry, we apologize for that. But so
Samantha C.
you may have heard about that, but you don't really know what it means. So it's a specific time period that we're talking about right here.
And Samantha C. from the Rock Store here is to talk a little bit more about what exactly it means when Mercury, and it's Mercury retrograde. It's not
Correct.
Mercury is in retrograde, it's Mercury retrograde.
You could say either.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for having me today. Mercury retrograde is when the planet Mercury appears to move backwards in the sky in relation to our perspective on Earth.
Okay.
But it doesn't, it's just the way they're orbiting around the sun, and so it doesn't happen. What is it supposed to do to people, or what impact is it supposed to have?
Well, Mercury is the planet of communication. How we express ourselves to one another daily through texts, emails, mail. It is our ideas and thought processes, how we travel from one place to another through airplanes. So when Mercury moves through retrograde, all those things can be affected or slowed down or wreaked havoc upon.
You always hear people when something's going wonky, right? You're feeling a little bit off. Or like this morning, we were tripping over our words. We just sort of felt out of sorts, whether or not we were tired or not. But you hear people just say, Mercury in retrograde. Are they always using it in the proper terms? Does it have to be in this
there are a lot
window?
of things astrologically and astronomically going on in the sky. So it is a very popular thing right now to be blaming Mercury for, you know, things that are happening in your life. Most planets do go through retrograde cycles. But, you know, right now a lot of people will say, hey, like, you know, this happened. Is this because of Mercury retrograde? And sometimes it is, and sometimes it could be like something else that's happening.
Is there science to it? I mean, when you start reading, a lot of science says, no, there's nothing, it doesn't happen, it's no more unusual, those events, than any other time of the year, because it's 4 times a year, right?
3 times.
3
yes.
times a year, sorry,
for
3 times a
approximately
year.
3.5 weeks. What exactly happens is because Mercury is closer to the sun than the Earth, right? It is the innermost planet in our solar system. Mercury passes the sun 3 times a year. And when it is on the same side of the sun as the Earth and passes the Earth, the trajectory from our perspective seems to change course, right? And there are 5 parts of the Mercury retrograde cycle that give us different intensities.
You explained the part about technology, so how does that work into it?
Mercury, if you know anything about mythology, is the messenger of the gods. So from a symbolic standpoint, Mercury connects to communication and technology, everything mechanical. So people's cars break down, traffic interferes with getting to your appointments on time. But it really depends how it affects your personal natal astrological constitution. So some people will be like, oh, like, is Mercury going to affect my life this time? And it would really depend on if it hits you, if it hits your chart.
Is it an idea, too, the concept maybe just to take a pause every once in a while and slow down?
Yeah. Or take more time while getting to appointments. You could make sure that you read over your contracts and your documents 2 or 3 times and check your grammar before sending those texts. And
Good advice all the time.
Yeah. And if an ex-lover comes back into your life, which can tend to happen during a Mercury retrograde, take a pause. Don't be impulsive. Don't jump on that right away. And say, okay, what's the lesson or what's the theme? Mercury wants to unpack things in your life. It wants you to take a look, take a breath before you communicate right away and go, okay, like what's the theme this time around, so that I can learn something a little more.
With the X's, yes, you can learn a lot there. And I'd say, you know what, whether you believe it or not, because there's the science, those who are of this school of thought and those who are of this school of thought. I think it's interesting, though, to understand, because where people are coming from, which is key, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it is about understanding one another and understanding yourself, slowing down, figuring things out, right?
Yeah.
Understand me, just understand me.
I've tried to understand you, Mel. I really have tried to understand you, but... So, Samantha, we appreciate you coming in. And is there anything people should be aware, if you're into this, is there anything people should be aware of for the rest of it? Because it goes till August, right?
It goes till July 31st.
Okay.
There will be some energies that still carry on past that. But what people really need to know is to just take things a little bit lighter. You know, roll with the punches. If things get in the way, move a little slower, or don't get road rage and just take a little more time.
Chill out.
Yeah.
Some good advice. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Samantha.
so much.
Appreciate your time.
For more information on Mercury Retrograde or Samantha C and the Rock Store, head to bttoronto.ca.